Recording, yes. Okay, so let's make a Cat5e patch cord or patch cable. Basically, it looks like this. Right? On both ends, it has an RJ-45 plug. RJ stands for registered jack. So those cables are used, patch cables are used to patch the signal from the patch panels onto whatever equipment that it needs to be patched through. It could be a switch, it could be a router, it could be a modem. It's an Ethernet cable. Okay, we're going to learn how to put those in. Now, you can buy those things quite inexpensively. However, sometimes you're going to be required to put to terminate those things as such on your own on the job site. Like for example, in some cases you're going to have to install a wireless access point that's in the ceiling, and you're going to be required to pull a cable right to the location, terminate the RJ-45 jack at the end of the cable, and plug it into the device that's in the ceiling. That's one of the examples. Of why you might need to use it. Now, of course, you're going to have to sometimes troubleshoot the existing connections, and you're going to find the jacks that either have been damaged or otherwise wrongly terminated, and they just went bad. You're going to be required to just cut them off and put new ones on. All right, so let's learn how to do this. Okay, so today we are doing the it's a Cat5e termination still. It's a Cat5e, all right, termination. What are we terminating? We're terminating an Ethernet plug. Ethernet plug, what is it? It's RJ-45, and we're going to terminate this thing according to the standard of T-568, and we're going to go A or T-568B. All right, and we're going to look at how we perform either or those termination. Now, again, remember when we talked about the standards of T-568? If you terminate both ends the same, so if you terminate the A configuration on one side and A configuration on the other side, you are going to have a straight link. If you terminate B on one side and B on the other side, you are going to also have a straight link. Now, if you terminate A on one side and B on the other side, you're going to terminate something that's called a crossover link. Okay, so sometimes you're going to be required to use straight links, and sometimes you're going to be required to use crossover links. Like for example, most of the Ethernet or LAN, local area network installations, they involve straight links. So it goes from the patch panel right to the desktop location. It's a straight link, and then you're going to use a straight link patch cord, straight patch cord or patch cable to terminate to connect the desktop location to your computer. Okay. Now, if you, for some reason, if you're required to connect two computers, one computer to the other computer, they have a similar connections. So those jacks, the jack on the computer and the jack on the other computer, are made in the same way. Now, in Cat5e, only two pairs are being used. Cat5e, excuse me. It's a green pair and the orange pair. One is transmit, one is receive. Now, which one is transmitting, which one is receiving, depends on which end you're looking at. Okay, so now if those jacks are the same at both computers, you will be connecting a transmit pair into a transmit pair and receive pair into a receive pair. Then you're going to have no communications, all right? Because transmit cannot be received by a transmit prongs on the other jack. So then you will be required to use a crossover cable. So you're going to cross over the transmit pair into the receive pair on the other side, and vice versa. All right. So these are just some of the examples. All right, so now we're going to perform a straight link patch cord, and we're going to test it, and that's going to be our job for today. All right, so now this is an RJ-45 plug. It looks like this. Where are we here? There we go. It looks like this. Focus. This is an unterminated plug. Okay. Notice that the prongs are not recessed here. Okay, they're sticking out. Can you see that? Maybe over here under the microscope. You see those prongs are sticking out. It is also an insulation displacement connection. So what happens when we terminate this jack, we're going to insert the cables or the pairs right from the rear here. It's just going to go right in here. They're going to go into the grooves, and they are going to be connected by these insulation displacement prongs, connectors. When we crimp this jack, those prongs are going to come down, and these little ends here are going to puncture the insulation in the cable and the conductor, and they're going to make connection with the copper. Now it's worth to mention that you know what? I don't think I have done this thing here. Right, I'm going to repeat this. All right, under the microscope again. These are the prongs that are sticking out. Okay. And these are the connectors right here. What we're going to do is we're going to insert the conductors right from the back of this jack, and each conductor is going to go in its own groove, which is going to be underneath the connector here. Now when we crimp this jack, this connector, we're going to, those prongs are going to come down, and this connector is going to pinch the insulation and make a connection with the bare copper that's inside the insulation. Now it is worth to mention here that some of the Ethernet cables, they are made in a solid core conductors, so they're solid. The conductors are solid. Now some of the patch cables are made with stranded conductors, so it's not a solid piece of copper, it's just a bunch of stranded little tiny wires twisted together making one conductor. They are more flexible, and usually these are used for making regular patch cords. Now when you are using solid core cable, you need to purchase solid core jacks or plugs that accommodate the solid core. It has to do with that connector. It's arranged in a slightly different way to puncture through the insulation, and it's supposed to make a proper connection with the solid core. Now if you're using stranded cable, stranded conductors, those are supposed to be made for, you're supposed to get another jack or another plug that is made for stranded conductor. It just has a little bit different shape, so it grabs the stranded cable conductor a little bit better. Okay. Now we're going to what we have here is we have solid. We have jacks that are accommodating the solid conductors, and we have a cable that is solid core copper. So we're going to terminate those. And we're going to put an end on one of those on one end, and the other one, just like that, on the other end. We're going to make a straight link, and we're going to test it on our tester. Okay. So first thing, we're going to strip this cable. So let me just get a piece of cable here, and again, you might use the devices, the clip-on stripping devices, and that's fine. Or you can learn how to do everything with side cutters. Now, The stripping should be a little bit more precise than the last couple of videos when we did the 110 punch down or toolless, and I'll show you why. Okay, now, so again, I'm gonna show you how to strip. Never too many times. See this thing here. Come on, focus on me. All right. Let's get rid of that. So again, how do we strip? We nick it on one side, turn it, and nick it again, and then we can just break the insulation. Ow! I've got something in my neck here. And then we just rip the cord. Use the rip cord to peel the insulation. I'm going to peel it. And now we're going to cut this as straight as possible, okay? We need to cut this as straight as possible. So I'm just going to groom this ending here as best as I can. So we get a nice and equal round kind of an edge here, all right? Otherwise, if you use the stripping device, you can use the stripping clip, you're going to have a nice beautiful cut. But learn how to use it. You can always do that with that one, it's easy. Learn how to do everything with the side cutters. Okay. Now so we have the cable stripped, and all we have to do is put those wires in the grooves, and we're good. So how do we do that? All right, let's see the pinout number. Now, if you look at this jack here, I'm just going to put it under the microscope again. Here, we count the pins, so that this is when we are holding the jack, so the clip, the latching clip, is facing away from us, and the jack is facing away from us. So here's the cable. Okay. Now, of course, we're going to count the pins from left to right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from left to right. This is how we count the pins. Okay. Now, how is it how is this thing? Why is it called also an insulation displacement connector? You can just tell. Just look at this here. See, this is a crimped connector already. Those jacks are prongs are recessed. The connector came down on the cable, and let's see if we have one that shows. Okay, you see, I'm not sure if you can see it or not here. Let me see if it's better with the other one. This one is damaged. Okay, this thing is fighting me a little bit. All right, you can see it a little bit better here. Let me just focus it a little bit for you. You see, this connector came down on this whatever the cable is, the connector is there, and you can see a little tiny pinch signs of pinching here. It just actually came through the cable. That means there's a good connection going on. When we insert the connectors in the grooves, we're going to make sure that those conductors are going right to the end of this jack. We don't want anything halfway, because if we don't push those conductors far enough, those connectors are just not going to be able to grab it and puncture them and make a connection with the copper. All right. So again, we count the pins from left to right. If we're holding the jack with the clip facing away from us, and the jack is pointing forward, that's where the cable is. Okay. So the way we count the pins is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's how we count the pins. Now the pinout, I just found a picture on this side website. It's called showmecables.com. Okay, so here's the reference. Now here is configuration A, T-568A. Remember how we count the pairs? The pair numbers are blue, orange, green, brown. Let's just write this thing down. Here, can we see it? Yes. Blue, orange, green, brown. This is how we count the pairs, and each pair has a solid and striped conductor. Okay. So if there's a blue pair, it's going to have a solid blue and a white blue, a white conductor with the blue stripe. Can we see that? I'll just so here's how blue pair looks like. All right. It has a solid blue and it has a white blue. And that goes to all the conductors. It's part of the 25 pair color code, but we're only using 4 pairs of the 25 pair color code. We have a solid blue and a white blue, and sometimes we call it the stripe. Okay. Right. So, how is it that we place the? What is the pinout of this cable here, of this connection? All right, so pair 1 is blue, and it goes right into the middle of the two middle prongs. So it's going to be pin 4 and 5. Okay, that's pair 1. Then pair number 2 is orange. Remember, blue, orange, green, brown, right here. Pair number 2 is hugging. It goes around pair number 1. So it's the orange pair right here. Okay. That's how it goes. And then we go 3 and 4. Okay. Remember I was doing that little dance here? As far as the pinout, pair 1, 2, 3, 4, blue, orange, green, brown. So there's pair 1, pair 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Again, the dance. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is how we arrange the pairs in the RJ-45 jack. Okay. Now, one thing that I want you to notice is that all the stripes are pointing to the left. Again, we're holding the jack with the clip facing away from us. So all the pairs are arranged in a way that all the stripes are pointing to the left except for the middle pair. Okay. Don't confuse the pin numbers with the pair numbers. Okay. Pins are counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from left to right. These are the pins of the jack. The pairs are counted 1 right here, and then there's 2 that goes around, and then it goes 3 and 4. It is easier to remember than just making a list like this, for example, and everybody does that. Pin 1 is white, green, pin 2 is green, and this is, so you're just counting this. You're never going to remember those colors like that. I don't remember those colors like this. Okay, so it's easier to remember. The pair 1 goes into the two middle prongs. Pair 2 is the prongs that are around the two middle prongs, right here. 3 and 4. Okay, I've said it enough times. Let's get to work here. All right. Now, again, before we do that, configuration A and B. All right, so this is configuration B. This is configuration A. T-568A. We go blue, orange, green, and brown. With the B, if it's Cat 5E, I just keep saying that. It works only up to Cat 5E. We only exchange the oranges and the greens. That's it to make a B configuration. So B, we're just going to exchange the oranges and the greens. So here's again, blue stays as it was, and now instead of orange pair as a second pair, we're going to have a green pair. And then third is going to be, instead of green, it's going to be orange. And then the fourth one stays the same. And this is how they look like beside each other, configuration A and configuration B. Okay. Now, if we're talking about, because I just found this thing on the net, Now you're going to have you're going to find different configurations on the internet, and different sources are going to tell you, and sometimes you're going to find little explanation. So and you're going to see sometimes a crossover cable with just the oranges and greens reversed, and that's going to be called crossover cable. And sometimes you're going to see in the images on Google, you're going to see also a cable that's called crossover cable, but you're going to see orange and green sort of exchange, but also you're going to have switched blues and browns, and both of them are going to be called Cat5e, no, sorry, they're going to be called crossover cables. And you're going to go, what is going on here? Because some sources tell you this, some sources tell you that. Well, the answer is simple. Up to Cat5e, only 2 pairs are being used. So orange and green pair are being used for Cat5e. Okay, the other ones are there, but they are mostly not used. Maybe some odd type of equipment is going to make use of those 2 pairs, but Cat5e is using only orange and green pairs. Okay, now so that's why sometimes in those less expensive or the economical cables, patch cables, it's going to be a Cat5e patch cable. You are going to see only those orange and green pairs, and the other slots are going to be empty. So that's how some manufacturers save money. Now it doesn't work with Cat6, because Cat6 employs all 4 pairs, blue, orange, green, brown. And those cables have to be reversed. So that's why sometimes you're going to see a crossover cable with just oranges and greens. That's only Cat5e. Up to Cat5e. When you go Cat6, then you're going to use 4 pairs, and you have to reverse or switch around all 4 pairs. So you have to switch oranges with greens, and you have to switch blues with browns. Okay? So that's why that mystery solved if you see, if you search on Google for crossover patch cords. Okay, let's prepare this cable here. Did we strip one? Yeah, we just did. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this this cable, all those pairs, about this much. You're talking about about 2 inches. All right. So I'm just going to cut those. Now make sure when you cut them, you're supposed to work with straight wire, simply because if you make a straight cut here, and if the cable is bent, if you make a straight cut here, and if you straighten out the cable, those lengths are going to become different. All right. So that's why you should pay attention to cutting those cables straight. All right. So I'm going to cut about 2 inches or so. All right. And now we're going to prearrange those wires. Remember, the blue is in the middle. Okay, so we're just going to leave the blue in the middle. The orange, let me just give a little bit more view here. Okay, so blue is in the middle. The orange goes on top of the blue, so we're just going to leave it like that for now. Okay, and then the green goes on the left, and brown goes all the way on the right. So this is how we're going to prepare those that cable. Why do we prearrange those pairs first? Well, the reason is that once you're going to start arranging those conductors, you don't want to be arranging the pairs so they don't trip over each other. It's very difficult, and the cables and conductors are going to fight you, and when they fight you, they're going to win. Okay, actually nobody's going to win, but you're going to have a hard time arranging those in the grooves. Okay, so let's just now in this case we have to untwist the pairs. So I'm just going to untwist that pair, the first pair, and remember all the stripes are going to the left except for the first pair, which is the blue pair. Now if I untwisted those, okay, you can see that there's a little bit of a residue from the twist. The way we do this thing, you just squeeze this thing here, all right, and you squeeze the pair and just kind of shake it around and as you're pulling outwards, and that gets rid of the twist residue. Just make sure that the pair doesn't reverse on you as far as polarity. So this is the first pair that is going to be inserted into the jack. And then of course, so here's pair 1, pair 2, and then 3 and 4, remember? So then we're going to undo the twist on the orange pair. And then from now on, all the stripes are going to be on the left. And watch what I'm doing. Quite often it helps if that once you put the second pair in, you just bring those in here just like that. Here, and here's the other one. And then I'm going to grab all 4 of them, 4 conductors, and I'm going to kind of in a shaky way, type left and right, just so we could get rid of the twist residue here. Okay, so we have 2 pairs now, pair 1 and pair 2. Is that how it works? Of course it does. Okay, now here. So we're going to go with the pair 3 and pair 4. So we're going to just hold that here and untwist the pair that's green. This is the A configuration. Is that untwisted enough? Yes. So I'm just going to bring that into the bundle and just have to make sure that they don't jump on us. Okay. And then we're going to bring the stripes. So the stripes are on the left. Right. Again, squeeze it hard. And shake it all about just to get rid of the residue from the twist. Okay, we have this thing building up right now, and now we are left with the brown pair. So I'm just going to untwist that one more time here, and we're going to bring that one there because all the stripes are on the left, and we're going to bring this one here, and then again we're going to squeeze it, shake it about, just so the twist residue is gone. We should have now, see, I'm just making sure that the cable is nice and straight. All right. Now we have pretty much prearranged those wires that are going to go into the grooves. Now, what you need to know is that once we insert these jacks. Now, some of the jacks come in the kind of punch through holes in the at the end here, so you can just put those wires right in at the comfortable length right here, and they're going to be sticking out. And as you crimp, because some crimpers have knives. See, there's a knife here. This is how you insert the jack. And there's a knife. It's going to cut those off. I'm not sure if I like them or not. Some people like it. I just like to have this thing nicely protected so there's no any dust that can get in there and any debris that can compromise the connection. So now we're going to have to pre-cut this thing again. Now before we pre-cut that, I want to point something out to you. Those wires, those conductors have to go right to the very top here, hit the wall. Okay, so that means they have to be nicely equally cut. That's why make sure the cable is straight, because if you have it bent, you cut it straight, you straighten it out, they come different length. Okay, they become to be different length. The other thing is here, and maybe I can show it under the microscope. Yeah, let me not forget this time. There's a little pinching clip here. Right here, it's this guy right here. Maybe I can, yeah, right like this one here. Okay. Now, when the crimper comes down, it's going to this crimping clip is going to come down and it's going to pinch the insulation. So the wire, let me see if I have one that's ready-made, like that. See, so the insulation is kind of kept in place. All right, I'm holding the other wire with this my other hand. So there you go. This is how this comes down and pinches the insulation in place. All right, so everything is nicely protected. Okay. That means we need to make sure that this cable goes past that clip. Okay, and this is the length of these wires, and I'll show you how to do this. See, all the wires, all the conductors are right to the very top. Here, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so I'm holding this thing here still. Now we're going to make sure that the cable is nice and straight, and we're going to make a cut about less than an inch or an inch. Now I'm doing this thing with this flat side of the side cutters, so this way I can see visually what I'm cutting. If you do it this way, you're going to cover your view and you won't be able to see what you're actually cutting here. So I'm going to use that, making sure that nothing jumped on me, none of the colors have jumped on me, and seems like it's okay. And I'm going to cut, make sure that the cable is nice and straight, cut the conductors something around about an inch or so. Okay, nice and straight. It has to be nice and straight. Okay, so there you go. The cut has been done. Okay, the carrots are cooked. I saw a movie like that about somebody who was walking the line. He was saying that. He was from France. Anyways, so now we're going to insert those into the grooves, and sometimes you're going to have to make sure, ouch, that those wires, those conductors don't jump on you. And once they find the grooves, you're just going to put them all, making sure that those conductors hit the front. Okay, they all have to go right to the front. This one is not quite there yet, so let me just push that thing a little bit. Okay, we keep pushing, keep pushing. I'm just push that. Okay, now let's see if we have that. Of course, you're not going to have a microscope. You're just going to have to use your eyes with glasses. Yes, they are coming down. Now the connector is just about ready to come. It's just waiting for it. That connector here, those two little teeth right here, those claws, they're just going to come down on this, pinch it, and make contact with the copper that's inside this conductor here. All right, now just have to make sure that this cable goes past that pinching clip. All right, in this case it does. If it doesn't, there's a trick here. You just kind of massage that while holding it. You can't do it, you cannot overdo it, because if you overdo it, you're going to push the insulation too far and it's going to pull it out, and those conductors are going to retract a little bit. So now you can just massage that jacketing here so it's well nicely past that clip. Let's see if we have it. Okay, it is past that clip right now. When the clip comes down, here's the clip. Where's the clip? See, that's where the clip is, right here. Okay, here. No, right here. Okay, that's the clip. That thing is going to come down and pinch the insulation in place so it stays there, and the conductors are going right up to the front. So that's good. If there's any conductors that don't go to the front, that is not good, because that means that there's a chance that the connector is not going to make contact with the copper wire. Right? Now, let's get the crimpers. They come in different shapes. Sometimes you have those kind of with couple handles and with a big kind of a bulkhead here. This one is by Ideal. It's usually pretty good. I like it because it's nice and compact. You can have this thing in your tool belt. And if you need to use it, then you're going to just come out and it's very ergonomically, very nicely designed here. Okay, so it has the RJ-45 size port in it here, and things go only in one way. we're just going to push that connector in, and do not force anything. It just has to come nice and easy, just right to the end. Okay, and then once that thing is in, you're just going to close the handle on it. See? And that's it. The connection has been made. The connector has been installed. Now let's take a look. You see the pinching clip, it's just nicely holding the insulation in place right here. All the conductors are nicely going to the front, and the connection has been made. Can we see anything punching through here? No, we can't. Sometimes you can see it and sometimes you can't. Right. Yeah, maybe you can see a little bit poking through, things poking through, just a little tiny peek here. Okay, so now you can see those prongs are retracted. Or not retracted, just they're recessed instead of being sticking out from the grooves. All right, so now we have the first end made. Let's just do the other end. Okay, so I'm just going to do it slightly quicker. So first again, strip the wire, nick, turn, nick, break the insulation, peel the wire, use the ripcord. Oh, this thing is just tangling on us. Okay, here you can pull that. Why do we do that? Remember, once you nick this part with the side cutters, that part right here is always going to get damaged. So don't use those cords, conductors past this point. Okay, so that's why we use the ripcord. Okay, just gonna pull a little bit more, peel it, then cut the fluff. We always cut the fluff, and we have to make sure that this part is nicely as rounded as possible. So I'm just going to do some grooming here. If I'm using side cutters, if I'm using the scorer, the stripping device, it's going to make a nice round clean cut here. All right, so here then we're going to cut about this much here, because you can just leave it like that and untwist it, but it's going to take you too long to untwist. We just need to have that much here untwisted, arrange the cables, conductors, then cut it to length. Okay, so we don't want to spend too much time untwisting. So this would be something that I would consider a comfortable length for untwisting and arranging. Okay. All right, so now remember this thing here in the middle, pair 1, blue. Oh, this is sorry, this is the A. This was the B configuration. We're doing A. So blue, orange, and then green and brown, all the stripes to the left, except for the first pair, which is the blue. Okay. All right, so let's prearrange that again. We are having a blue in the middle here, then orange goes on top, green, and the brown. Which way would we go? We don't want to go this way, because we're just, as we crimp the connector, those things are going to come down on that, so we don't want that. So try to kind of be mindful of that kind of stuff here. Right? If the wires want to go a certain way, then you let them go a certain way. Okay, so they don't fight you. Okay, so here it is. We have a blue in the middle. Orange is going to go on top of the blue. Then we go a green and brown. All right, so let's start untwisting. Sometimes it takes a little bit to start. All the stripes, all the stripes are going to the left, except for the first blue pair. Straighten it out so it loses the twist residue. Okay, then the next thing is going, pair 2 is going to go like that, and stripe to the left, and the second pair is orange. Okay, here, making sure that things are sitting there nicely and neatly. Okay, now once we have those arranged in a certain order, then you can just hold it here and just make sure that the residue of the twist is gone. So this way they just stay nice and straight, and they're going to have easy time to get into the grooves. And then green and brown, undo as much as we need. So here comes the green. Can I zoom in a little bit? Alright, here comes the green. Let me focus it a little bit too. Alright. Then we bring the white green, because the stripes, all stripes are to the left except for the blue pair, the first pair. Then the last one we have left is the brown pair, and then we're going to see, I'm holding it all the time so the wires don't run away on me. So I'm gonna bring the stripe in the bundle and then the solid, and then I'm going to hold it, and as I pull and squeeze, I'm getting rid of the twist residue. Okay, next thing, so now we can almost let it go, but see, not this time. They just try to jump on you. See, okay, is everything okay here? Blue, okay, is in the middle, then the orange hugs the blue, then the green and the brown. So we're still good. Then we're going to get our connector ready here. No, that's not the connector. This is the connector. All right. And okay, and then we're going to cut about an inch, or maybe a little bit less than an inch, slightly less than an inch. Again, with the flat side pointing this way, so we actually know where we're cutting. Nicely perpendicular, about something like that, less than an inch. Okay, nice and straight. As you're holding it, you just make a nice cut, and then as you're holding it, we're going to insert those. See, the clip has to face away from you. Some of my students from the past years, they would do it this way, and that would be wrong because you were wiring the whole thing backwards. It's just not going to make sense at all. So the clip here facing away from you, that way. Okay, and we're going to put those in the grooves just like that. Right, making sure that everything goes right to the end. And you see here, this jacketing is not far enough, but those wires are. So we're just going to nicely, gently massage that as I'm holding it. I'm just kind of pushing the jacketing here. I call it massaging. Yeah, we're still good. We have a little bit of play here. Okay, now that thing is nicely inserted, and now we're verifying that all those wires are going right to the end. All right, and they're ready to be pinched by the connectors. And then we're going to insert that into the crimping port of our crimper. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this thing in focus. And I'm looking at the camera, losing my 3D vision. Alright, it has to come in nicely and nice and easy. If it doesn't, do not force it. Okay, once it's there, push it a little bit just so it's nice and firm, and close the handle on it. Okay, do the crimp and release, and we have another well done connector here. Are we pinched with, yeah, the insulation is kept in place. The conductors have come down onto the pairs. See, they are not sticking out anymore. On the other side, see, everything is coming to the front. On the other side, going right to the front. Can we see? Oh yeah, look at that. This thing is pinching through. You can see it actually. See that? Alright, that connector has just come on the other side. Alright, okay, good. So now we have made ourselves a patch cable. Right? All we have to do now, let me just get ready with this, with my contraption here, make things tidy a little bit. And we're going to do the testing. All right, I'm going to, here, what do we have? We have a tester, all right? Same as we used last time here. But now we don't have to use patch cords because before, when we did the toolless jack, we can't plug the female into female, so we had to use patch cords to do that. But now, see, that thing just goes right in here. Okay, that's the whole idea. Okay, now we can just plug in straight into the ports here to test this cable and see if I can do this thing by looking at the camera without losing my 3D here. Here's one, and the other side, see, the other side of this cable is going to be plugged in right here. Here. Okay, and now we can do the testing. I'm just going to lay those down here. It's going to be better, better vision, better view, to give you a better view of the test screen. All right. Now, what do? We just do press the test, and it's going to again tell us that the last test wasn't saved. We don't care. We tested it anyway, and it is looking for the cable and it's testing it. Right. It's just going through its routine. Almost done. And it's going to tell me that it passed. Okay, so let's see, can we see the wire map here? Can we view the results? Sure, I can view the results. Wire map passed, length 3 feet. We have just made a 3-foot cable here. Propagation delay, skew, the next attenuation, and so on. Let's just look at the wire map, because you can choose which test to display. As when you did that, okay, now it's showing us the wire map. All right, now it's showing us the wire map that that it's correct because it's a straight link. Now I wonder if we could just, let's be crazy today. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to damage this wire here. Let's say, for example, I'm going to see. All right, we have a damaged cable. All right, that cable is damaged. Let's test the damaged cable right now, see what the wire map is going to show us. Okay, so here's the view. Plug it in again. Here. Here, plug the other end. And let's just do another test. I'm going to do a little quick trick here. Look what I'm going to do. Click, click. Okay. All right. Let's test this one here. I'm pretty sure it's going to fail. Okay, test, test. Uh-oh. It is showing us that some wires are broken. Oh wow, it failed on the wire map. And what does it show us? It shows us that pin 6 is broken. Which one is the wire? Pin 6. Remember, we cut when we looked at the microscope, we saw the orange cable, the conductor that was cut, and this one is showing us. And look, orange is pin 6. Okay, now we can see that pin 6 is broken. I'm surprised that there's only one that showed up that broke. Okay, so now this is what you're going to do during this lab while making the T-568. A or B doesn't matter. You can use B to B or A to A. You can make a straight cable. Okay. Again, as far as the deliverables for this lab, we're going to have page 1 with the work order. Okay, all filled up and signed by your instructor. Page 2 is going to have 2 tables. Table 1, table 2. And over here we're going to put the test screen, so we're going to say just test results. Okay, and over here what are we going to put here? What do we want to name it? We can just say T-568, and you can just put T-568A, or you can put T-568B, depending on which way which way you have terminated. So you can put T-568A termination. That's if you magnified this here, so you're going to have the label like that. Okay, or T-568B termination. Okay, and then you're going to have those 2 conductors laid side by side. And how are we going to do this thing? Okay, so let's say this was a good test. So we're going to take a test screen shot just like that. Of course, it's going to show that the whole thing is good. All right, and that's all. Don't show me the whole thing, just show me the test screen, and that's how we're going to put this thing into one of the tables. The other photo, what we're going to do is you're going to put these 2 cables, or that's not the damage, that's something else here. Oh yeah, we still have this thing plugged in. Okay, I just unplugged that from the, and we're going to lay it down just like that. Okay. Zoom as much as we can. Focus. Lay it down here. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to label this thing here. You can just put T-568A, T-568A, okay, on one, and then you can put T-568A on the other one, 568A on the other conductor. And you're just going to arrange it just like that. All right, and that's the picture that I want. I want to see a close-up of this, because I want to see the conductors arranged. Okay, and we're going to, of course, so that's going to be the second picture, which is going to be placed right here. Okay, so work order, test screen, labeled as the test results, and over here you're going to put T-568A or B, whichever way you did that. Okay, so that's going to be a lab report in the form of a work order. Okay, if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. We're just doing this thing ahead a little bit. Okay, so that was terminating the RJ-45 plug cut 5E T-568 end-to-end straight link.